I greet you, ladies and gentlemen. In a previous lecture installment in my series of brief lectures, I made a presentation of the four types of unemployment. The four types of unemployment which I covered are cyclical unemployment, frictional unemployment, structural unemployment, and natural unemployment. Today, in this installment, I just want to cover the last four from number 5 up to number 8. So the fifth type of unemployment is called the long-term unemployment. This long-term unemployment is a combination of cyclical and structural unemployment. According to the economics literature, it is held that cyclical or business cycle oriented unemployment and structural unemployment drive long-term unemployment in an economy. So when we are looking at the long-term unemployed, these are individuals or people who are part of the total labor force who will be unemployed or who experience unemployment, the condition or the state of being unemployed for a long period of time as a result of economic downturn and because of structural changes within the economy. They may discover that when jobs open in the future or at a later time, their skills no longer match the jobs that are available. So structural changes take place, and also the downturn in economic activity, which is associated with changes, is in the business cycle. They contribute to this long-term unemployment. So among the people who are unemployed, there are people who will be unemployed for a long period of time due to the fact that their skills no longer match what the economy is offering in terms of jobs. The sixth type of unemployment is called seasonal unemployment. There are some people who do work in particular seasons. So their work is seasonal, like casual workers who work at say theme parks and other places during festive periods. So when there is an upsurge in demand, maybe in a theme park, when there is an upsurge in demand for their services, the services that are offered by those particular industries, like maybe the tourism and hospitality industries, you may discover that they hire what they call occasional workers or casual workers, and then those they take up seasonal jobs. The same thing goes for also holds for the agricultural sector, where they employ a lot of seasonal workers as well for harvesting or for planting, or for weeding, and for picking fruits in farms, in plantations, and in orchards and other places where they engage in farming. So if you look at a ski resort, you realize that during the skiing period or during the skiing season, they may employ a lot of people to assist during that period when there is an upsurge in demand for their services. So the unemployment is seasonal. Just like the people who get employed by supermarkets, hypermarkets, and other types of retail outlets as well as wholesale outlets, they may get jobs seasonal during the festive period when there is an increase in aggregate expenditure, an increase in aggregate demand. So it's seasonal. It fluctuates, changes with seasons in a particular year, a calendar year or an economic year. And then the seventh type of unemployment is called classical unemployment. This classical unemployment is also called the real wage unemployment. It occurs when real wages or the cost of employing a worker is too high. So when the average wage rate rises until it's too high for companies to sustain, they have got no option but to lay off certain workers, those workers who are vulnerable, in order to break even as economic entities. Those people who lose employment because of a high average wage which is prevailing in the economy, a high minimum wage which is prevailing in the economy, are called the classically unemployed. and the unemployment associated with them is called classical unemployment. So classical unemployment exists in those economies which grow very rapidly and the standard of living begins to increase, and as well as the cost of living as well. As people demand more goods and services, they clamor for higher wages, and there is increased trade unionism. You know, with improved living standards, you may see an evolution of trade unionism in an economy, strikes and other factors that tend to cause wages to creep upwards. We know wages are sticky downwards, but they tend to be slippery upwards. Wages are slippery upwards, but sticky downwards. Once they go up, it's not easy to reduce wages without causing an outcry in the economy. So those people who are associated, who are unemployed as a result of a high real wage, are called the classically unemployed. And the last type of unemployment is called underemployment. The eighth type of unemployment is called underemployment. Underemployment differs from the absolute concept of unemployment in that it describes people who are working, but they are not employed at their full capacity. Like a person who has got a master's degree or a PhD who is teaching in a primary school. It's possible to find people who are doing that. But ordinarily, we know a PhD level scholar ought to be researching at some think tank or at a tertiary institution of learning, not in a primary school. But you may discover that people who are engineers, they are just working as technicians instead of doing their proper engineering jobs. So there is lots of underemployment in virtually all economies. It takes place when jobs are hard to come by and people have to compromise to take just jobs that are available. A situation arises where someone, maybe with a software engineering degree, you find them working at McDonald's in order to pay the bills. Clearly, you don't need an engineering degree to work at McDonald's or KFC or maybe Starbucks or at other such institution or such company. An engineer, we expect them to be working for an engineering firm. A software engineer, we expect them to be working for an IT company. But many a times it occurs that people have to take on jobs that are too low considering their academic and professional pedigree. You find an accountant, a trained accountant doing just basic bookkeeping activities within a company in order to survive and pay the bills at home, put food on the table. This frequently happens. It's called underemployment in economics. Thank you so much for listening to this installment. Once more, in this lecture, final lecture on types of unemployment, I covered underemployment. I also covered classical unemployment. I covered seasonal unemployment as well as long-term unemployment. I believe you benefited from this coverage. I wish you a good day. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you are a first-time visitor. Trending Economics. Share this content with some people in your social networks and your professional networks so that they benefit from these small snippets of economics. In subsequent lectures, I will be demonstrating how you calculate the rate of unemployment as well as other indicators of macroeconomic activity, different indicators. I'll teach on a variety of topics in economics to make economics knowledge freely available to those who desire to be literate in terms of economics. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.